everybody. Now, before I get into some SMM today, it is the tail end of Gay Pride Month, and I believe tomorrow will be the start of Autism Awareness Month. So I might as well just get both of them out at once. So maybe not necessarily specific to gaming, but more specific to computing. Without computing, there would be no video games. Consoles, after all, are dedicated computers. If you think about it, and a game is just a program that runs on that hardware or a set of instructions. So, and a lot of you probably have heard of Alan Turing, but you probably don't realize a few key aspects of his life other than he did crack the Enigma code, which is a very important thing in the So, this is Alan Turing, very accomplished gentleman from the 40s who cracked the Enigma code as a cryptographer who developed computers and various aspects of computer theory. I majored in computer science myself, so I heard quite a bit about this guy when I was in school. And yes, and of course, his ability to crack the Enigma code with the Enigma um, allowed him to cipher the codes that the Germans were using to communicate with themselves during World War II, which did turn the tide for that war. Now, he also gave us various theories of computing, one of them being the halting problem. Best to explain the halting problem, that would be okay, so you have a computer, right? And you ask it to do something, and it's doing its thing. It's calculating, it's pulling data, it's whatnot. And it's taking a long time to do this thing. Now, the thing with the halting problem is, if I wait long, question is, if I wait long enough, will this program eventually stop and give me an answer, spit out some output, or is it stuck in a loop, in an infinity loop, right? And it will never stop. Is it a matter of I just need to wait long enough, or does this, or if I want it faster, could I just simply throw more, give it more time, or throw more power at it, like performance, better hardware, etc., or is it just stuck? That's kind of the dilemma behind the whole thing. It's frequently spoken of in computer science. So that's his contribution to history as we know it, and along a lot of other things. I mean, he was a very brilliant man in his time. And there he is. He graduated university, worked for M5, what was M6 they call it? And he pretty well started cryptanalysis. Now, here's where this gets a little sad. Remember, I'm doing this in June for a reason, right? All of his accolades. Very accomplished man. He did a lot in the field of computing. Here's where this gets a little. Of course, here's why I'm talking about him. I know it's the last day of June, but it was nevertheless still June. Now, I do know that I'm kind of leading into Autism Awareness Month because people speculated that he might have been autistic. So, in that time period, if you're just weird or off, no one bothers to get you tested for anything. It's different nowadays, where if you're off, people just want to make sure that you're going to be okay because there's more to success than are your grades okay. But here's why we were talking about him in June. He was actually a homosexual. And he was a gay man in a time where you could be put in jail for being gay. And of course, as this passage in Wikipedia explains, he had relations with a he had relations with a gentleman who and he got caught when Turing got burglarized and his lover pretty well ratted him out and told him that he was. And Turing acknowledged, and Murray tried to insist that Turing, and found out that Murray was an accomplice to the burglary. Now, when Turing reported the crime, he ended up admitting that he had sex with his lover, and he got brought up on charges of homosexual acts. Now it's actually a myth that Turing actually went to jail. He was able to avoid prison by pleading out. But in doing so, he ended up losing a lot of the prestige that he had as this cryptographer who worked for the government, among other accolades. This, coupled with the fact that he made some shoddy investment decisions to try to secure his money from Nazis, he ended up pretty well in tatters. And he was found dead in his home in 1954 of cyanide poisoning. And it was heavily suspected that it was suicide, considering that they suspected it to have been a suicide. Cyanide poisoning was discovered to be his cause of death at autopsy, and while no one tested it, they did find a half-eaten apple near his body, so they speculated that it might have been laced. So there we have it. And I think I want to say this just as a general warning, not general warning about this is where hate will take us. This is one of the paths it will take us. This gentleman was an intellectual hero for all intents and purposes. Like, he was not a strong warrior, he was just a smarty pants who was able to tell the warriors where to go beat their clubs. And we ended up losing that genius because he got caught bumming another man. So if you still think that homosexuals are the evil that needs to be purged because God said so, well, get off my channel. I don't need your views. And I think it's important to remember that LGBT people are still people, and they will have talents, and they will have wants and desires, and they will have talents and skills that can be leveraged. So I just want this to be remembered. And I hope that people do smarten up in the end and realize that this is not something punishing. So sorry for the downer note at the start of stream, but let's get to SMM now.